Yo, what's going on? In this video, I am going to be reviewing Red Dead Redemption 2 for the PS4, so stay tuned.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long.
Yo, what's going on? I'm Jay Carter from GrowOnYouTube.com, teaching you how to be better. And before we start the review, I just want to quickly say that Red Dead Online is supposedly coming out at the end of November. It'll probably come out, in December, to be honest. But I will be making a separate review of that mode. So if you want to join my gang of outlaws and play with me, then come and join my community for mature gamers over at patreon.com/jcarteray. But that review will be separate from this review. This does not count the online mode at all. So let's get into it. Let's first start with my experience. Now, my experience with Rockstar is a very long, storied adventure. I have played Rockstar games since, I think, Grand Theft Auto 3, although I was quite young at the time and shit at the game. And, my brother played the game and I watched him play, basically. But then I played Vice City and all that sort of stuff. I played a bunch of Rockstar games. Let's just get that out. I even played Manhunt and all that sort of stuff. I've been a fan of Rockstar for a very, very long time. I played Red Dead Redemption 1. I loved it. I kind of played it twice because I played Red Dead Redemption 1 to the epilogue, and then I got a new console, I believe, and I played it again, and I didn't realize that I had just gotten basically to the end of the game. So I played it again and finished the epilogue and done all the stuff before that again. So I kind of played through the game twice, and I enjoyed it. I played GTA 5. I enjoyed it. Wasn't too hyped up about the story of GTA 5, to be honest. It was okay, but it was a little bit all over the place. But I've been a fan of Rockstar for a very long time. When they put out a game, I am super excited about it. I was super excited about GTA 5 in 2013. Very, very excited. That was probably the most excited that I've been for a game for a very long time. And I wasn't that excited about Red Dead Redemption 2 at first because I was just staying away from game hype. And then I started to look into it. I watched a few trailers and I got super, super hyped. And I played it. And, well, that's what the review is about. But I just wanted to share my experience of how many Rockstar games I've played. I am biased towards Rockstar. I'm a very big fan of the type of games that they make. I love open world games and I love RPG games. And Rockstar have been trying to bring RPG elements to their open world games for a little while. And Rockstar are basically the originators of the open world genre as we know it today. Back in the PS2 era, when games came out and they were open world in nature, people would call them GTA clones because GTA was the game that did that first, and then any other game that did it was just called a GTA clone. Whether it was like GTA or not, if it had open world in it, it was a GTA clone. So yeah, I've had a lot of experience when it comes to Rockstar and playing Rockstar games and dealing with their stuff. I did play GTA 5 on the PS4, but I didn't complete it. I played very briefly and I mainly just played GTA Online on there. But there's my experience. That's about as much as you need to know about me and my experience with the GTA franchise, the Red Dead Redemption franchise, all that sort of stuff. I'm a fan of Rockstar. I'm a fan of their games, and I was excited to play this. So let's get into the story. I also want to add that I have completed over 80% of the game. I think it was like 83% or something. And 100% of the story. This is not a review from someone who has played a little bit of the story and thought, yeah, I'd review the game now. I've played the whole thing. I've got through the entirety of Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm going to let you know whether it is worth the price. So let's get into it. I want to start off with story first of all, because I feel like, first of all, I really enjoyed this story. Now, the game focuses around your experience within the Van der Linde gang. You play as Arthur Morgan, who is the second in command, and the narrative and the gameplay is heavily tied to this gang, their camp, and their adventures. And I like that. I like that. This isn't a common thing with Rockstar. Usually, you know, you have your main story, your main hook, and your heart of the story where you're trying to complete this certain thing. And then a bunch of random characters come out of everywhere and give you a bunch of missions. They don't really do that in this one. It's very, very focused around this group of people. You get different missions from different people in the group and people related to the group. It's very, very concise and it's very, very streamlined, and I just love what they did. It was just amazing the way that they did it. I'm surprised they never did it before, but it worked out really, really well this time. It really made for a cohesive storytelling experience, made the game way more immersive, way more believable, and I cared about most of the characters, all of them. I don't think there was a character where I was like, I don't care about that guy. I cared about the characters, even when there was like one-off characters and they died out of nowhere. I was like, oh well, I didn't want that guy to die. I kind of wanted to see him a little bit more. And it's hard for a game to do that, so I really have to put my hands up and say, you know, congratulations, Rockstar, you made me care. And I love the gruff, tired character of Arthur. He just seems like, you know, he has been doing this for a while and he's got no time for BS and he's tired and he's like, yeah, all right then, well, we'll do this, might as well. And I really like it. I really like that approach to his character. And the other characters also acknowledge that Arthur is a badass, and I love that in games. I like when games do that, as you usually spend most of your time taking out armies of guys that it's not feasibly possible in real life. So it's good when games actually acknowledge that you are this almost otherworldly, wild, legendary character that can just, you know, do great feats of amazingness. I love when games actually focus on that and address that. So the game puts me in the shoes of the main character Arthur, and I felt for him. I really felt for him and the people that he cared for. I wanted Arthur to have a happy ending. I wanted things to work out for him, and I wanted the people that he loved to have a great time. Now, I really played the role of Arthur, like I role played in this game. It's not RPG, but it's got RPG elements. Like you can cut your hair, you can get really skinny, and you have to eat and all that sort of stuff. It's got light survival elements. We're not really going to get into all the cores and all that sort of stuff because I don't think that's necessary. But it's got light survival elements, and that does ingratiate you even more into the character and make you care for him a bit more. But I really played the role that I thought Arthur would play. I'll try to be the person that I thought he would be, and I would liken this kind of to The Witcher in terms of they give you a character, they kind of give you a basic outline of how this character acts, and then you can go and do whatever you want. There are choices in the game. You do have choices to make. I don't think they make really, really big differences, but it's nice to have multiple choices. I love games that give you choices, even if the choices don't do anything. Like, just give me choice every now and then, and this game does it beautifully. It gives you many, many different options to choose to do things in a different way and to basically change different outcomes in different storylines and different cutscenes. And I really enjoy that. I really like that. I really enjoyed playing the role of Arthur. I loved it. And I really enjoyed the character and playing as the second in command in the gang, which I think you're the second in command. It's kind of like you're the third in command, to be honest. But I felt like I was the second in command, innit? And that makes a lot of sense. I really like that they done that, because it's not like I'm the leader of the gang and then I'm going and talking to all these guys and they're giving me missions, which doesn't make the most sense. But it's not like I'm, you know, in GTA 3 and I'm just the errand boy for everyone. I'm just going around doing everyone's dirty work because they can't be bothered to do it themselves. It's not that either. It's a little bit of the in-between. It makes sense that you're doing these missions and helping these people out because you are the second in command and you are part of this gang and you want it to succeed. So it makes a lot of sense like that, and I like the way they set things up so that it makes sense when you're actually doing these missions, and it doesn't just feel like you're doing fetch quests and you're just doing things for people and you're an errand boy, which it did sometimes feel like in past GTA games. The story does a very good job of making you care about what's going to happen to the characters. I had moments where I actually shouted no at my screen or expressed some emotion due to the story beats. That doesn't usually happen to me in games. It only happens when the story is really, really good and the writing is really, really top notch. So that's what happened here. The writing's really top notch and the story's really, really good. The story missions also tie together very, very well. As I said before, you don't just do a bunch of random stuff for random characters like in previous Rockstar games. The game is focused on the gang of outlaws that you ride with, and you complete missions for the betterment of those people and yourself. I actually cared about helping the gang, and I enjoyed the characters and wanted to know more about them. My favorite supporting character was Sadie Adler. Shout out to Sadie Adler. Boop, 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 boop. Sadie Adler is definitely my favorite character. She's got the best character development, I believe, and she's probably going to be one of my favorite characters in just the Rockstar Games universe for time to come. At first, early on in the game, I really liked Dutch, and then I grew to hate his guts. If you have played Red Dead Redemption 1, then you know Dutch is in that game and he is a bad guy. So obviously he's going to have to turn into a bad guy in this game, and I think that was done really, really well. Really, really well. To the point where I was like screaming at my screen at points when Dutch was on screen, and I just was not happy at him whatsoever. I grew to hate his guts, boy. And John Marston also returns from Red Dead Redemption 1, and he's another favorite of mine, but that's an obvious pick. There's actually more John Marston in this game than I expected, which I'm happy about, to be honest. I thought that he would be like a super side character because obviously you play as him in Red Dead Redemption 1. I didn't think they'd give him that much to do in this game, or you'd spend that much time with him, but you spend a healthy amount of time with him, and you know, it's cool. The guy that plays John Marston, he does a great job again, and I think, well, we're going to talk about graphics and sound later, so we'll talk about all the voice acting and stuff, so let me not get into that now. But attention to detail in dialogue is on point. At one part, I went on a mission to rob a place that I had been to before in the free roam. Like, I had gone there and robbed them in free roam and done it while they were sleeping, so I didn't actually kill anyone. And then there was a mission to actually rob them, an optional mission, of course. It wasn't actually a forced mission, which I do want to talk about. I do want to talk about forced missions in these games. It was a side mission, and I went to go on this side mission, and as I was traveling with the character that I was going with, Arthur actually brought up the fact that I had been to that place before, and I really like that. Like, that's really cool. They didn't have to do that. That is some good writing. That is some good attention to detail. That is actually caring about your game, and I like that. There is legitimate character development throughout this story, and it is done well. I grew to love characters like Sadie Adler, and I grew to hate characters like Dutch. And you don't usually get that a lot in games, to be honest. You don't really get a lot of great character development, but it was done really well here. It felt like a movie. And I really enjoyed the story beats. I really enjoyed taking part, and I really was rooting for certain characters and booing other characters. And there were really epic moments in the story, especially because I was invested. Like, I was emotionally invested. So when certain story beats happened, it felt all that more important. There were really epic moments. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there were moments that really made me feel and get emotional. And I didn't cry playing the game, but I got scared when any character I liked looked like they might get killed. And that is something to celebrate, because there are a lot of games that I play and I just don't care when people die. It's like, okay, that guy died. Let's get him moving now. Let's get into the next part. But legitimately, in this game, when certain people died, I was like, what? Oh my God. Why? And then when certain people looked like they might die, I was like, no, you better not let that person die. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that this game made me feel things. So let's get into the gameplay. So first of all, I want to discuss the side missions versus main missions element of Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 does this very, very well. They have the main missions that you go to and, you know, it carries on the main story. And then they have side missions, which generally have nothing to do with the main story and are more lighthearted, more random, and you can just go and do them if you want. And if you don't want to do them, you don't have to do them. Every time you're exploring the map, you'll usually find a side mission around the area that's available for you to go and partake in. And what I love about Red Dead Redemption 2 and Rockstar games in general that seems to be going away in single player gaming is the ability to not do side missions if you don't want to, and the ability to just play main missions. Now, I did a post on YouTube about this the other day, and I said something like, games should not force people to do side missions. And they shouldn't. If your side missions are good, then people will do them. And if I don't want to do your side missions, then tough luck. Let me play through the main story. I bought the game. Let me play what I want to play. And there are other games out there like the Assassin's Creed. I didn't play the latest one, but I played Assassin's Creed Origins. And I will say RPGs generally. The Witcher kind of, but I think you could go through The Witcher without doing all the side missions, but those side missions are just so great that they feel like main missions anyways. But there seems to be a trend in gaming that's moving towards making side missions mandatory and gating people from the main content unless they do enough side missions, they grind enough to get to a place where they can do the main missions. And you know, if it's an RPG, then you can do stuff like that. Like that's part of the formula of RPGs. But if you're making an open world game, even if you're inputting RPG elements, like, come on, give me the option to just play through the main missions. I hate it when people make you play through the side missions. And Red Dead Redemption doesn't do that. They have the side missions there. If you want to play through the side missions, you can. But if you don't want to, you can play the main missions and nothing else in this game. And if you do that, you'd still have a great experience. Like, I just wanted to quickly get that off my chest. Like, it's not so much about Red Dead Redemption 2. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment section down below, because I really want to have a discussion on this. I'll probably make a dedicated video at some point if I have the time. But let's get into more of the gameplay. So the gameplay felt very stiff at first, but you get used to it eventually. You can also change the settings to make the controls a little more fluid. I feel like when I started playing the game, when I would aim on someone, it was just really stiff, man. It was really stiff to move from target to target. It just would take way too long, and I just feel at a wild disadvantage. It was very, very sluggish, but I changed my settings and got better at the game, and it was much easier to just do whatever I wanted. Now, the set pieces in the main missions are especially amazing. I loved what they were doing here. The main missions in this game are great, and I don't think Rockstar have put out a game that I remember in recent memory where they didn't have just great set pieces and great main missions. GTA 5 had great main missions that were just so over the top. Like, I swear I landed a plane inside another plane or some sort of BS like that. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. That's a fun thing. I have to give it up for Rockstar. And they didn't joke this time around either. Like, obviously there's less things that are possible in this time zone and with the limitations of this time zone, but they still had really, really epic set pieces, and I really enjoyed the main missions. Now, I do want to talk about the attention to detail. There is a lot of attention to detail in this game, and if you've watched other reviews or watched other people talking about this game, you'd hear about, you know, attention to detail, it's a living world and all that sort of stuff. Like, before I played the game, everyone was saying, oh, it's a living, breathing world. What the hell does that mean, bruv? What, a living, breathing world? What does that mean? And basically what it means is that there's attention to detail. Like, I saw a post on Reddit where a player shot a shopkeeper and then returned to that same shop in a few days and saw that that shopkeeper had a bandage on his head. Now, that is attention to detail. That is nice. That is attention to detail that gets you immersed, and that is to be appreciated and commended. I really think that that is great. Now, there are certain things that I didn't enjoy so much with the game. We will get back into, you know, different attention to detail things, but I quickly want to talk about hunting. Now, it's disappointing that you have to hunt to upgrade your storage space. There's a gentleman in your camp that you can go to upgrade your satchel, which upgrades the amount of things that you can carry in it. So the things that you can carry around, like tonics and valuables and all this sort of stuff. And you have to hunt different animals and get perfect pelts from different animals in order to upgrade these. Now, I didn't upgrade one. I didn't upgrade any of these because I am not a fan of hunting in these games. Like, it's just boring to me. I did try for a little bit to hunt a specific animal. I wanted to hunt an elk, and it just took so long. It took so long for me to find an elk. And then when I found them, like, there's a quality bar of different animals. Like, it starts from 1 star to 3 star. Now, in order to get a perfect pelt, which you need for crafting, you need to kill a 3-star animal, and you need to do it in basically one shot. So you need to kill it in the best way possible, either using a sniper or a bow or whatever you have that works on that specific animal. And it's just too long to sit around and track animals and find the right one and find the 3-star one and then kill it properly. And it was just boring, man. I skipped hunting after a few hours of waiting. It was much easier and better for me to just shoot animals when I saw them as I traveled, instead of specifically going to hunt them. Now, the legendary animals in this game are different because it's less randomized. But when you finish the game, you can just spend money to upgrade your storage space. And I would have liked this option before finishing the game, but it was appreciated after finishing the game because I just spent the money, man. It did get to a point where I had the right pelts to craft the upgrade, but I wasn't actually able to craft it due to something that happens in the game. And I can't go into more details because it's a bit of a spoiler. But the legendary hunts are much better because you go to a specific area after you track the creature, and you can actually, you know, track it down and do that sort of stuff. Although I didn't hunt any of those either. I hunted the one that it shows you in the main mission, and then I just never dealt with that stuff because I just don't care. I just don't care about hunting in games, man. It's not something that I've ever cared about. There are heist-like missions included in the game, but they're much less complicated than the heist in GTA 5, which is understandable. As far as I remember, there was like maybe 2 missions where I had to do setup missions, or 2 heist type things where I had to do setup missions. There was one where there was like 1 or 2 setup missions, and there was one where there was like 4 to 5 setup missions. But that was the only times where I had to do that. But there are also things like train robberies and stagecoach robberies that are done in story missions and are able to be completed on your own in free roam, which is really, really nice. Apparently, you could also rob banks in free roam, but I never found a way to do that. I would go into banks and try to rob them, but there was just no button to press to get the guy to go and open the bank vault or anything like that. As soon as I took out my gun and killed someone, the law came, basically. So I'm not sure if that's something that you can do, or maybe I just didn't find it. Robbing a train, however, is really, really fun and makes you feel like a legit outlaw. I did that quite a few times and I enjoyed my times robbing trains. It was very, very cool. Side missions offer a nice break from being an outlaw. These are usually given by random strangers and have that tongue-in-cheek rockstar wit. Now, generally, the main missions are a little bit more serious. You do get some comedy in the main missions, and I did chuckle here and there in the main missions, and I feel like the writing is just superb all around. But the side missions are where things get really, really zany, and you'll find just the wildest things happening. I'm not going to spoil any of them, but that's where you'll find that tongue-in-cheek rockstar satire and that sort of stuff. The combat essentially plays like a cover-based shooter. You have access to old-time weapons with a very slow rate of fire. But you also get access to the Deadeye ability, which is like Max Payne's bullet time. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 1, that's the best way I can explain it to you. It basically slows down the world around you, which gives you the opportunity to make some swift headshots. Now, towards the end of the game, I became so good at shooting people in the head and using Deadeye that I didn't even have to use cover. I just walked towards my enemies like the angel of death with my 2 revolvers, just shooting people in the head all around me. It was wild. I love that. Another thing you will spend a lot of time doing in Red Dead Redemption 2 is riding your horse and traveling from point to point. Now, this may be a very, very big con for some people. As you ride and take care of your horse, you increase your bond with that horse. And as you level up that bond, you will unlock different abilities and your horse will basically become a better asset. It's also really sad when you lose a horse, as you do develop a connection over time with this horse that you have named and taken care of. And if it so happens to smell a train, then it is going to horsey heaven. And you got to get a new horse and you got to build that bond from the beginning and unlock those abilities yet again. The amount of horse riding in this game can get annoying at times. There's no radio to keep you company on your journeys or anything like that, but random events and encounters are very common, so you won't find yourself riding for ages with nothing to do. And I think this really ties into when people claim that the open world is the most alive and immersive open world ever, and it's a living, breathing open world. You know, all these sorts of BS talking points. Yeah, so basically the world reacts to you and throws interesting things in your path, like the random events and encounters. Maybe a gang will try and rob you all of a sudden. Maybe you'll see someone that needs help. Maybe you'll see someone that is being taken in for a bounty, or possibly you'll see smoke in the air and you can go towards that smoke to see who is camping out and maybe rob them, or maybe just say hello and move along your business. Like that sort of thing happens. So yes, the game doesn't feel like just a static world because it's consistently throwing things at you that makes you feel like, you know, stuff is going on in the world, and that's nice. There are also a few times when a ride is skipped, or you're given the option to skip a ride in a mission, which is nice but not as common as I would have liked. I would have liked it after every other mission, to be honest. Like if it said, do you want to go back to camp now? And I could say, yeah, I do want to go back to camp because I do want to continue with the main missions. But I understand them leaving you out in the wilderness so that you actually engage with the open world. I understand the reasoning behind doing things like that. You can also auto travel to a waypoint, a custom waypoint on the map on your horse. This is not fast travel. This is when you are riding your horse. You can basically put it in cinematic camera mode and it will ride to your destination so you don't have to do it. This feature has been included in many other games and I think it just should be a standard. And I liked it. It was good stuff that this was included in there. It made those long journeys less tedious and made it more bearable to be riding your horse constantly. There are also fast travel options, and you can use things like trains and stagecoaches to get from town to town. So you can skip a bunch of riding if you want to watch a loading screen instead. But the game is clearly meant to be played on the back of a horse, and you'll discover many things in the world on your travels. So I kind of get why there's so much horse riding, because they want to put you out into this open world and they want to give you the opportunity to come across these encounters and find these mysteries and find these places. Like there's so many things, so much content in this game to experience, so they want you to kind of be out and about so you can get a piece of that content and see things that you may be interested in and go and check that out. The game really shines in its attention to detail. We're coming back to that. Although you may find that a bit annoying, to be honest. There are many slow and plodding animations that add to the immersiveness and the realism, but take away from your free time. For example, you are able to craft a bunch of different items at your camps that you set up, but if you choose to craft different types of ammo, you'll see Arthur craft each bullet individually, and you'll need to continue to hold down the X button to craft more. This is great in terms of immersion because you're crafting each bullet one by one, like when I was crafting split point bullets, because they're really easy to make. You just put a cross in the bullets that you already have. It's really easy. You use your knife. You don't really need anything other than that. So I was making a bunch of these split point bullets, but after I made like a bunch once, I never did it again because it just takes so long. Who wants to do that? Who wants to sit down and watch their character go through all that for like a minute or two, or maybe even 3 minutes to get all your bullets to have a bit of extra damage? Like, it just wasn't worth it. It just wasn't worth it. That's great in terms of immersion, but not in terms of gameplay. I really would have liked the option to just craft all ammo at once without having to hold X for a minute or two to do so. There are a few other examples like this, but they are nitpicks, and I do get why these elements exist because, you know, it does add to the immersion. The game does end up feeling more immersive as a result of these animations and slowness. You actually feel like you're actually controlling a man that's living in the Wild West, and I appreciate that. I appreciate what they're going for here. But I do think that the option to bypass some of these things should have been available. Walking around your camp, spending time with other members of the gang, and listening to conversations they have between themselves is very interesting, and I like that more than I thought I would. There are possibly hundreds of lines that were written that I'll never experience because you always find people in the world talking and living their lives while you walk past, and that's something to be appreciated. Now I want to talk about the wanted system. The wanted system in the game isn't the best. If you commit a crime and there's a witness, they will report you to the law. Now, you can stop that witness, you can kill them. If you kill them, another witness might see that, and then you might just have a chain reaction of killing witnesses. But, you know, the possibility is there. But if that witness gets to the law, the law officers will investigate, and if they find out you're the culprit, you will get a bounty placed on your head. But sometimes there is no witnesses to your crimes and you'll get a bounty on your head anyway. The law can also see through any mask you're wearing and identify you immediately, which leads to a bounty being placed on your head. This results in a system that seems to discourage crime, which seems weird when you're playing as an outlaw in a Rockstar game, and sometimes the bounty you will get for committing a crime and getting out of there will be more than the profit of the crime. For example, at one point in the game, I was given a tip that there was something shady going at the back of a doctor's office and I should rob it. Like the good outlaw I am, I went to the doctor's office and I robbed the place. I was able to rob about $50. And I then had to make my way through a scripted firefight with the law that ended up netting me a bounty of about $65. That is not good design in my opinion. It got to the point that I just refused to pay my bounties at all, and this resulted in bounty hunters being sent after me every so often. Now, these guys were easy as hell to kill, but they started to become a nuisance because when they come after you, you lose access to all missions and activities until they are killed or you run away. I think your mask should generally protect you from getting a bounty on your head unless the law gets within like a meter of you, and maybe there's an animation where they take your mask off or something like that. And even then, if you kill all the lawmen that came after you, you should lose the bounty, because how will anyone else know that you've been a murderous bastard if all the witnesses are in the grave? If there was also some sort of way to get rid of your bounty by doing a good deed, like clearing out a gang hideout or bounty hunting yourself, then that would be a big improvement on the system. Graphics and sound. The graphics in this game are great, but honestly, I thought they hit at the park with GTA 5, which came out on the PS3, and then when they put that on the PS4, I was like, well, that looks great. So I'm more than pleased. Like, I'm not the type to wowed out about graphics these days. Like, back in PS2 era, when graphics actually mattered, like they were crappy and some of the graphics were good, that actually was something. But nowadays, it's like all graphics are generally good or even great, to be honest. I think the standard of graphics has just gone up way more. Like, generally, graphics are great. And the only things that really stand out are when graphics are terrible. And this game definitely does not have terrible graphics. The writing in this game is also impeccable, as is the voice acting. Apart from a few outliers, such as the guy who plays Trelawney, who's supposed to be an English guy, and because I'm English, he just sounded weird as hell. He just didn't sound right to me whatsoever. Everyone else sounded fine. The Irish guy sounded fine. The American guy sounded fine. Everyone else sounded fine. Trelawney had something wrong about him, which was disappointing because I kind of liked his character. So I just realized that I completely didn't even talk about the music in this section, so I want to add my piece on that right about now. I usually don't really touch on the music section in games because I don't really pay much attention to it. But in this game, there's not a lot of music, to be honest. There's not a lot of music, so when it comes in, you realize it. The ambient music's pretty cool, but as I said before, there's no radio stations or anything like that, so you don't have like that entertaining audio track every time you're traveling from place to place, so it really immerses you in the world. Like, the sound with the gameplay is pretty good. The gunshots, the weather effects, the horse, all that sort of stuff sounds pretty great in my opinion. But the musical tracks that they do have in the game usually come at very, very epic points. If you've played Red Dead Redemption 1 and you remember going to Mexico for the first time, then you can expect some of those same familiar things here, and they worked really well. They done them in places where it made sense, like in the story, and it made already epic moments even more epic. So I enjoyed the sound in this game. But, you know, that's me on graphics and sounds. You know, I don't go super in depth with that. I'm all about the gameplay and the story. So let me answer that question that you came here for. Is it worth the price? Red Dead Redemption 2 is currently $49.99 on Amazon. I played this game for over 2 weeks, for over 80 hours. And that was full of high quality content. I could have played this game for way longer, but when it got to the end of the game, it got to like the epilogue, I kind of rushed through. And even that took about like 8 hours. No, I think it took more than that. I think it took like 12 hours for me to get through that, to be honest. And I pushed through that. So there's a lot of content in this game, and I had a lot of fun. Like, it's high quality content. It's not just filler content like certain other games that try to force you to play side missions because their side missions are crap. It was good content. And I enjoyed pretty much. I don't remember doing something I was like, oh no, this is boring. I don't want to do this. I don't remember doing that. And anytime that did happen, like for example with the hunting, I just didn't do it. Like, there wasn't any long period of time when I was doing something I was like, oh well, I have to do this, but this is really, really crap. So I got to give them props for that. I had lots of fun, and I expect to have many more hours of fun when the online mode officially launches. This game is more than worth the price for the main missions alone. If you liked Red Dead Redemption 1, you'll love this game ASAP. If you're thinking of getting this because you love GTA, then you need to understand that this is not just GTA with horses. This is a much slower, more deliberate, darker, and much more serious experience. I would highly recommend it to you anyways, but I don't think that liking GTA guarantees you will like this game. If you're going to buy this game, then please use the link on the screen or go to jcarterray.com/RDR2 as it helps out the channel. Now, let me quickly go into the pros and cons so that you can make the decision for yourself. Pros: the game has countless hours of great content. The game is immersive. The story is amazing. The writing is great. Sadie Adler, that is a pro. You know, Sadie Adler is out there. Comment down below if you know about Sadie Adler. Don't know, hold tight you. Cons: the wanted system needs improvements. The immersion can sometimes get in the way of convenience. And there are really long horse rides that you may not enjoy. But there it is. There is my review of Red Dead Redemption 2. As I'm looking at the time of the recording, it says something like 45 minutes. I wanted this to be as concise as possible. That's why I didn't go into all the elements of the gameplay. But hopefully I can get this down to like 30 minutes or something. But this is a great game, and I highly suggest everyone out there to experience this. But I would say that about any Rockstar game, because I really, really love Rockstar and I love what they do and I love their types of games. If you hate their types of games, you might not like this, or you might like it. I don't know. But I would highly suggest going out and getting this ASAP. As I said before, if you want to play Red Dead Online or any other games with me, come and join my community of mature PS4 gamers over on patreon.com/jcarterray. I'm going to be recruiting the deadliest outlaw gang when Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, and we are going to get messy. So if you want to get involved in that, link will be in the description. Thank you for watching this review. Thank you for taking the time to get to the end. Damn, this is a long review. Thank you very, very much. Leave a comment down below, all that sort of stuff. Let me know what other games you want me to review. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing. I will see you in the next review. Peace out. Also, I'll be doing a bunch more Red Dead Redemption 2 content. I'm really going to pump out the content on this game because I'm having a bunch of fun with it. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you stick around. Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Peace out. If you want to learn how I got over 23,000 subscribers and millions of views on my YouTube gaming channel, then you are in luck. Sign up to this free course right now. Link will be in the card, in the description, and in the pinned comment. Or go to growonyoutube.com/20k SEO course. In this course, you will learn the best way to write your video titles, tags, and descriptions to help you rank on the first page of YouTube. It's simple when you know what to do. I'll also show you a hack that will help you choose the right key phrases and help you create videos that can rank and get views no matter what game you play. Stop struggling to grow your YouTube gaming channel and start doing what works. Click on the link in the description or go to growonyoutube.com/20k SEO course. This course will not be up forever, so get in there as soon as possible. I hope to see you here soon, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey of turning your passion into your career.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long. So all this warmth I share with you